What's up, guys? Today or this week on the fly, we got another episode. I told you guys we were coming back, and we had two episodes in the can that we needed to get out. And this week, last week, we had Noelle Tolan talking about her newest single, "Nashville Numbers," which you guys, I appreciate all the views, the likes, the watches, whatever. I had some comments on that. This week, this is another episode we recorded the end of last year. This is with another up and coming country music. Well, I wouldn't know if you would call him country music. He does like country. He does some country. He does some pop. He does some rock. He does a little bit of everything. He's been on the show a few times before. This week, our guest host is Mr. Martin Terry. And if you live around my area in the Northampton, Hertford, Halifax County area, even up into the Greenville area. He goes out to the beaches of North Carolina a little bit, does some shows there. You know who Martin is. Martin is a fantastic singer. You need to check him out on all his socials, on his website. We'll put the links in there for you to check him out. He just came out with a new song. You guys need to check that out. But me and Martin get together. We just got together actually a few weeks before this was recorded to do our Sarah Evans concert review, which was at the Weldon Mills Theater. This episode, we do our top 10 favorite music artists, whether it's country, R&B, rock, rap, whatever. We do our top 10. And I mean, you guys know what my number one was. I mean, so obvious. Look, I'm pointing to the wrong one. But yeah, guys, check it out. Great episode. We appreciate Martin taking time out of his schedule to come on the show. And like I said, check him out. We'll have the links to his socials and everything in the episode description. But guys, check out our socials. Check out On the Fly. If you want to become a part of the On the Fly Facebook group, if you're a member of Facebook, just look up On the Fly, and it's Flythe, not FLY, Flythe. So that's where I'm from in the South. That's pronounced fly. The THE is silent. So check us out. Look us up on Facebook. You got friend request us, join the Facebook group. We're on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. We're just getting our new TikTok. This TikTok is not available anymore. So yeah, that's a long story there. But give us a like there. Follow us on Instagram. And if you could please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll put the link up there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a 5-star review whether Spotify, Apple, wherever you stream your podcast at. Give us a 5-star review, guys. We really appreciate it. Without further ado, here's myself and Mr. Martin Terry with our top 10 favorite music artists.
You are listening to On the Fly.
What's up, guys? That didn't do like it was supposed to. My intro video didn't come on like it was supposed to, so sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. What's up, guys? We will just forget the intro video tonight, but tonight we're back. It is Wednesday night, November 20th. We got about a week before Turkey Day, and yeah, work is crazy, and just gonna get crazier before it gets to here. But with us again tonight, this is his third appearance on the show, I believe. Yeah, third. Yeah. So he's going to get to the Five Timers Club before long. There's only two members of the Five Timers Club. That's Noelle Tolan and Warren Meredith from Tame Sorry. But Martin's going to get there because he's going to be a more frequent guest on the show.
Yeah.
And tonight we have got the hard task I mean, me and Martin, of course, Martin being a musician, uh, you know his love for music and my love for music since I was, in my how long I've been listening to music since I was what 4, so 47 years now. We decided to come up with a top 10 artist slash musician list. So what this is our top 10 favorites of all time. It might, and it's going to be. I go ahead and tell you, me and Mark were talking about before we came on the air. It's going to be all over the place. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. You're going to see some country of mine, rock, uh, harder rock, and R&B. It's going to be a little bit of everything in there. And anybody that's known me, my number one will not surprise you. I mean, you guys should already know my number one. So that's 10 through 2 is going to be the ones you need to guess on. But so Martin, how's everything going, bud?
Good, really good. Like you said, work is crazy, and trying to do music on the side and keep this house up and different things we're doing. I've got a rental house we're trying to rent out, and
Yeah,
just super busy, but thankful to be busy. It's better to be busy than not. So
exactly. That the alternative is not good. If you're
that's right.
sitting there twiddling your thumbs, something's not right.
Yeah,
But so what's been going on with the Martin Terry band?
we're just slowing down the year, trying to play out our last few shows of the year. We got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 shows left for this year, and we're going to be hitting it really, really, really hard next year. So trying to get everything booked. I've got a lot booked already, but currently working on. This is the fun time of the year every year where I have to grind it out and try to book places, especially new places that I have to convince people why they should have us. So that and recording some new music. Sam is doing all the work
Oh,
for me now. Yeah. I'm way too poor to go back and forth to Nashville like I did last time. So thank you for me. He's doing a great, great, great job. He recorded my last single that came out last year, and we're going to do a whole 6-song EP and
wow.
putting a Christmas song out the on Black Friday actually. So haven't told anybody that yet, but gonna put a Christmas song out on Black Friday, and then first of the year, every other month, we're gonna put out a single and put out 6 new songs.
That seems to be the way to do it now. I
Yeah.
mean, like me and my nephew were up here a couple of weeks ago. Jack Jones talking about one of his favorite bands was Motley Crue, and they did a EP, which it was only 3 songs, but they staggered it just like you're talking about doing. They staggered it as they went along. And that seems to be the way to do it now.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of bands are doing it now. So I mean, that as far as putting a whole album out at one time, I know Daughtry did the same thing. Daughtry is putting the album out in 2 parts. They put an EP out, and then they're going to do 3 or 4 more songs. It's going to be a whole album
Mm.
when the last 3 come out. And I mean, not just in music, but you look at some of the shows you're streaming now, like Cobra Kai. They just came out with their second part of their last season. Stranger Things is doing it. Uh, Outer Banks did it. I mean, a lot of these streaming shows are doing the same thing. So that seems to be the way to do things nowadays. Is just stagger everything.
Yeah, I really hate it because I like the old way of sequencing an album and making an album that, you know, tells one whole story and whatnot, but people just don't have the attention span these days. I get it. I mean, I don't either. So
Yeah.
people don't really care about listening to a whole album, 10 tracks or whatever. So especially when you're, you know, starting like I am and, not a big name, people don't really care enough to, as bad as that sounds, you just got to kind of put it out there really quickly, let them hear it. Remember, you put another one out, keep their attention. It's kind of the idea. So I hate it because I would love to just put out a whole album.
Yeah, I like the old way. I mean, I like the 10 song album.
Mhm.
Uh, but back in the day, and I know I talk about this a lot. Back in the day, when you get that physical copy in your hand, and you just wore that thing out. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't matter if it was a single that was released off. You listened to it from start to beginning, and a lot of times you wore the cassette or the CD out. And so you had, if it was good enough, you had to buy it. I know Def Leppard, Hysteria, That was one that had to be bought several times, and some of the other things I had. But yeah, um, so CMAs tonight.
Yeah.
Uh, and I noticed, and I'm thinking I can't remember exactly. Lainey Wilson is one of the co-hosts tonight.
Mm-hmm.
She's really, really, become popular, and I mean with good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Lainey Wilson is a good country. Let me ask you this, and I can't remember his name now. Zach, what's the guy's name?
That we talked about last time.
Yes,
Yeah, Zach Top.
no, not Zach Top. There's another one.
Oh, is that Brian?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
the whole things going on with him about the breakup. I'm sure you've seen that, right?
No.
Oh, well, he apparently breaks up with his girlfriend. Like the way I hear it, and me and Mallory Mallory was informing me about it. Breaks up with her one night, puts out a big thing the next morning before she even have a chance to process everything on social media about it, and apparently, allegedly, tried to pay her off to keep quiet about things like $12 million.
God.
Yeah, I was like, I'd be quiet too for $12 million. I wouldn't say a word.
I know it must be something real serious to keep that much.
Evident, but I know he's caught a lot of slack from. I mean, Mallory was a big fan. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Mallory's my daughter. Mallory was a big fan, and now she's just like, yeah, I don't know so much more. I'm not going to pay much attention to him now.
That's
But
why.
that I don't know. I was listening to it. Apparently, some of the guys from Barstool Sports had her on their podcast. She was telling her story, and they redid one of Zach Bryan's songs to paint not such a good picture of him. And I think he got lawyers involved. It was a big mess. But
Wow.
look that up and when you get a chance. But looking forward to watching CMAs tonight. They're going to have some stuff up there. I think whether I make it through the whole thing or not, I don't know. I'll probably wake up about 12:30, 1 o'clock and watch the rest of it, what I've missed. But tonight, like I said, this is our top 10 favorite musicians, artists. And we decided not to do just bands or not to do just solo artists. We were putting them all together. And that made it even harder. But I think the majority of mine are bands. Yeah, majority amount of bands. But I don't know about yours. But all right, so you're the guest. We're
All
gonna
right.
start you right out at number 10.
Okay. All right. So, like you said, your list is all over the place. My list is all over the place, and I had like a top 20 list originally, and I had to take 10 up, obviously. So, but I wanted to kind of keep it diverse, with genres and everything because I do love all genres, and I think it's
Oh
an
yeah.
influence on me as a musician. But some of them might be a little pretty random. But anyway, my first one, number 10, is I originally didn't have this person in the list, but I was like, I've got to put this person in my top 10 list because I go back and listen to their music all the time. It's such a random artist, but it's Aretha Franklin.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, I think she is just the epitome of a vocalist, the epitome of some of her stuff she wrote, some of her stuff she didn't. But she was every song she put out was a hit. She was the original real deal, in my opinion, as far as blues and R&B and soul music. She's just an amazing artist, and I had to put her in my top 10.
What's the first song you think of when you hear the name Aretha Franklin?
My favorite, or the first one I think of, is RESPEC2.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
But that's not my favorite one. My favorite one is a song called, God, I don't even know what it's called now. That's what I'm gonna do.
I know what you're talking
Love
about.
that song, and I love everything she's put out. I really do.
I'll tell you a funny story. This has been some years back gosh, probably over 10 years. It's maybe the week after Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife calls me. She and her friend are in Runt Rapids at the Cracker Barrel,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, "You're never going to believe who just came into Cracker Barrel in Roanoke Rapids." And I said, "Who?" She said, "Aretha Franklin,
Shut up.
right off 95." And I know it had to be. I know it was over 10 years ago,
Yeah.
but yeah, Aretha Franklin had the big bus was out in the parking lot, but she came walking into the Cracker Barrel in Runt Rapids.
You are kidding me. Did they put her right in the middle of the dining room and everything?
I don't know. I can't remember where they put her, but how could you? I mean, how could Aretha Franklin just walk into? I know if you got your life and everything, but you still somebody like Aretha Franklin come walking into a Cracker Barrel, she's gonna get freaking swarmed.
Yeah. She was pretty
But
normal like that, though, from what I've seen. She really, I mean, she's one of the, I would say, everybody like Rolling Stone, everybody always votes her as the number one artist of all time, her and Elvis.
yeah,
So, but she's really pretty normal considering from interviews and stuff I've seen her. She was pretty normal,
yeah,
earth like that.
and I'll always remember her from the Blues Brothers movie, which
Mm.
I think that's when she sang R.E.S.P.E.C.T. on that. Yeah, she had a good role in that. So that you're right. That is a random one. But you know what? If you've ever seen Martin live, it doesn't surprise me because Martin's show, when he does the cover songs, they do a little bit of everything from Journey to Fleetwood Mac to Michael Jackson. I mean, it's a lot of different directions he goes into, and he pulls it off. So, all right, here's one you haven't done before, and this is my number 10, and this is a band. I remember when I first heard them, and back when vinyl records, and we used to get every once in a while we would get K-Tail records, which was pretty much your version of now. That's what I call music. Your time, but K-Tail would have that, and this band they did a song called "Tell It Like It Is," and I think that was a cover song for them from gosh, what was the guy's name? He's a beach music artist. I'll think of it in a little bit, but I was like, okay, they're okay. But until 1985, this band really didn't come full circle to me, like on the radar, where I was like, oh crap, this is good. I'm talking about Ann and Nancy Wilson, the Wilson sisters, and let me tell you, one of the best power ballads of all time, and it gives me chills to hear them sing it sometimes. "Alone" by Heart. Oh my gosh, when she
Yeah.
hits that, when they do that, till now, when she hits that the first time,
Yes.
that is freaking awesome. And Ann Wilson, I'll say this: Ann Wilson can sing with anybody. I'm talking male, female. She can sing with anybody.
Yeah.
But "Alone" is right up there. If one of these days, one of our episodes, we're gonna have to do we're gonna have to really get into it and do like a top 10 song list.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you that will be fighting on that top 10 list alone. And, listen to them now talk about that run in the 80s where they went from like 85 to 89. They said they went corporate and they didn't like it. But I'm telling you this, if they had gone corporate, I would have never really gone back and listened to some of their old stuff, probably.
Yeah.
Like Dreamboat Annie and stuff like that. The self-titled album, then Bad Animals, and then Brigade. That stretch of those three albums was prime heart right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not just Alone, but These Dreams, Never. Um, All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You, songs like that. But Ann and Nancy Wilson, and I'm so glad that they ironed out the differences. And I think they're getting ready to go back out on tour again. They had some health issues, but I think now they're getting ready to go back on tour again.
Their song, and I have thought about how I could do this song in the band because musically it is so freaking awesome. But it's talking about a man. It's Magic Man.
Oh yeah,
If it wasn't about a man, I would totally cover that song because
there's really no way around that either.
yeah, no. But
So we got a comment up here. So Mallory chimes in right on cue when I start talking about her. Here she goes. What's up, Barton?
hey,
But yeah, there's no way around that about where you can get by with Magic Man.
no way I could change the lyrics or anything, but it's just such an awesome song, vocally, musically, the whole shebang.
Another one, Barracuda. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see songs like that. I heard on classic radio back in the day, but going back and listening to some of the older albums, and there's some. Look, let me tell you, after they did when they got closer to the '80s, probably between '79 and '85, they did some stinkers. They did some albums where, oh my gosh, there's nothing on there that I like, but you know, I'm that's definitely my number 10 is Heart. So let's get to your number 9.
All right, number 9. I'm really surprised that when I was making the list, I originally thought that this person was going to be up towards the front, but then I started figuring out how hard it was to make this list. So John Mayer is number 9 for me.
Oh, wow.
Huge fan. Any musician would tell you the same thing, except I had one guitar player in my band. He didn't make it very long. He didn't last very long in the band, mostly because he didn't like John Mayer. But he told us that John Mayer was doo-doo, and everybody, Sam and Benea and Kevin at the time was in the band, James, everybody was a huge, and Andrew, my guitar player, is a huge John Mayer fan, and they were all just so pissed off about it because they couldn't understand why he didn't like him. But John Mayer is awesome. He is a musician for sure. Not the greatest vocal singer in the whole world, but melodically he's a great singer, but great songwriter and great guitar player.
Look, you talk about not the greatest vocalist, but the thing is, there's artists that are not great vocalists, but pick the songs that fit their voice.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's how he is.
He really just doesn't have to do a whole lot, like
right,
kind of, and it works.
One of my best memories of him, and this is totally it is kind of music like when he came on Dave Chappelle's show and did the how music affects people, and he did he did some gosh, what did he play? He actually, I think they did an outtake where he played the Facts of Life song, and Dave Chappelle was singing it. It's funny. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. But yeah, Your Body is a Wonderland is probably the first song I think of when I think of.
So I have this argument with people all the time, like at work. I used to sit in the office with about 10 other people at work, and I would always ask them to play John Mayer, and nobody ever wanted to hear him because the first few songs, if you don't really listen to John Mayer, the first few songs that you think of is Your Body is a Wonderland, Waiting on the World to Change. And those songs, honestly, I do not listen to those. But once you start listening to his deep cuts and everything like that, you start to understand like how great he really is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have tried to change people's minds, but they won't even give it a chance. But
so let me see. I'm looking at my Apple Music now. John Mayer, Better Days, which that's Zach Bryan featuring John Mayer. Let's see. Oh, so he just came out with a new single, right?
Oh, really?
October 11th, 2021. Automatic Yes.
Okay.
Let me see. It's 3. Yeah, Automatic Yes, because it's got 3 different versions of it. So, Waiting on the World to Change is up here. Let's see. Daughters. No Such Thing. That's one I remember too.
That's a good. But Gravity, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room.
Yeah, that's in the top songs too.
All of those like that are so great.
But John Mayer, yeah. So your guy didn't last long. after he said that.
No, I don't know if it was 'cause he just ended up leaving, but we were really shocked because he was such a great guitar player, and we would just have thought that he was a fan of John Mayer. Because I'm telling you, every musician just near about 9 times out of 10 is guitar players, especially, are John Mayer fans because he's one of the greatest in the world. He really is.
Right.
And you would not think it because you think about Daughters and waiting on the world to change, and those are just so like simple, but his really good stuff is so good. It really
Well,
is.
your girl is a big fan of him. Sarah Evans is a big fan of
Yeah.
John Mayer too.
Yeah, any musician. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like the musicians in the world is what makes him famous, it seems like.
So we got another comment coming in. Heels Bevan saying, "Hey, Martin Terry, miss y'all here in Runt Rapids."
Yo.
Yeah, what's up, buddy? He's always supported the show. Appreciate you chiming in. All
Yeah.
right.
Him and his mom are a big support to me. So thank you.
Yeah, you can definitely tell when this guy's been here on both podcasts. He's usually up here chiming in on the final score and on the fly. So we appreciate it as well. Number 9 for me. All right, this is going to be one of the few solo artists on the list.
All right.
And this goes back, I think, in '84 is when he really took off as a solo artist. He was a member of a band before then. But number 9 for me is Phil Collins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it started off in Genesis, just a drummer in Genesis, and then Peter Gabriel leaves, and they decided to put him up there. The rest is history. I mean, so many great songs from him. Of course, everybody knows "In the Air Tonight," "Against All Odds," "Something Happened on the Way to Heaven." There's 2 songs that really stick out for me. Excuse me. One of them, and I'm a sucker for a ballad all the time. I'll tell that all the time. This was off the soundtrack for a movie called White Nights back in maybe '86. He did a duet with a lady named Marilyn Martin called, Separate Lives.
Mm-hmm.
So great. And it you saw after that, she started getting a little traction after that because she did the duet with him. But now I've always wondered what happened to her. And somebody actually was on the show and told me she sells real estate now. She had another couple of songs, but after that she went down. But then there's another one he did later on called Do You Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And the video for that song is, I always say a good video makes the song that much better. You see my co-host up here behind me right here, just Molly.
Here somewhere.
She wanted to get on camera tonight, I guess. But Do You Remember is one of those that the video, look, she's like, oh crap, easy. Got to get out. She didn't know she was on camera. But yeah, Do You Remember makes that video makes the song even better. And of course, you got the Studios. I just remember Live Aid when they did the big concert. He went from England the same day, played in England that morning, and then went to Philadelphia that night. Played both concerts because they had it simulcast and did in England and the United States. He played both, and I'm trying to remember who he played drums for. I want to say maybe he played drums for Led Zeppelin that night.
Oh, wow.
I may be wrong, but Phil Collins, and to see him now, his health has really declined, and it's just, I've said it many times. It's a part of life now. When you get to this age, a lot of your heroes are getting up there in age, and you never can tell when one of them's going to be gone. But he's, to see him on stage now. I know Genesis did their farewell tour, and he just sat there on stage. He sat in the chair. He couldn't do anything else, but he still got that Phil Collins voice. But number 9 for me is Phil Collins.
Against All Odds is that song for me. I love that song. Love it.
That was my intro to Phil Collins.
Mm-hmm.
Was Against All Odds, because I remember, I think my brother bought the soundtrack cassette to Against All Odds, and really that was the only good song up there.
Mm-hmm.
He also did a duet that I bought, and this is a case, guys, where you don't understand when you get these people now. You got Apple Music, you don't have to worry about it. There was a song called "Easy Lover" he did
Oh
with
God, Philip Bailey.
Philip Bailey from Earth,
Yeah.
Wind, and Fire. Philip Bailey
So-
went out on his own and did an album called Chinese Wall. I will never forget it because I remember seeing the video on Friday night videos and hearing the song on the radio. I went to Camelot Music in Runner Rapids Mall and bought Chinese Wall. And let me tell you, Easy Lover was the only song I listened to on that tape.
Yeah.
I have to go back and listen to it though. Maybe I'll give it another chance. But yeah, but that
Great.
one was another one of my favorite ones.
Greatest drum intro of all time is on that song.
Yes, it's
So
got
good.
a great drum intro. Yes. All right, number 8 for you.
All right, I got to refer back.
All right, so Martin's going to.
You
There
hear?
you go. He's back.
Okay, hold on.
He's going to take. He's looking at his list right now, guys. So he's on his phone. So just give him a second, and he'll
All
be
right.
there. We go. All right.
Another random one, but I couldn't not put this. It's not really random. I think a lot of people like this person, but I couldn't not put her in the list. And I tried to kind of divide it up between male and female and kind of be fair with. That's why it was so hard to me. I took it way too serious. But
No.
Dolly freaking Parton. I mean, I had to put Dolly Parton in here. You know, she's the whole package.
Oh yeah.
Hits. She's what the definition of a celebrity is. Everybody loves Dolly Parton. She's done every genre of music you can ever imagine, not just country. She's done it all. She's collaborated with everybody. She's just a fantastic, fantastic artist.
Yeah. You talk about collaborate with everybody. Her last album,
Yeah.
Dolly Parton did a song with Judas Priest, with the lead singer from Judas Priest, Rob Halford. So the last album, and that album, the name escapes me of it, but it was great.
It's the rock album.
Do what?
It's her rock album.
Yeah, her rock album. Because she got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she said she needed to do a rock album to justify it. And she went out and did it. But Dolly, like you said, she's done every genre. I remember 9 to 5 when that came out. She also was a star in that movie, 9 to 5. Actually, last week when we were talking to Noelle Tolan, we were talking about Christmas stuff. Christmas songs came up, and she did a cover of Hard Candy Christmas, which was Dolly's song that was on the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Just a great song. And like you said, I don't think you can find anybody that has something bad to say about Dolly Parton. Although, I don't know if you've ever watched Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel used to do celebrities read mean tweets. And she was up there, and somebody had tweeted about, looks like a bunch of hookers in town. Said, "Oh, it's just a Dolly Parton concert."
Oh my God.
And Dolly Parton said, "Well, good, because that's what I patterned my look after, was a hooker." So,
Funny.
But yes, I mean, obviously goes on to be one of the greatest songs to ever be recorded was "I Will Always Love You," between her version and Whitney Houston's version. She's got so many great songs. That partnership with Kenny Rogers, "Islands in the Stream."
Yes.
She's got so many great songs. What's the first song you think of when you hear Dolly Parton, though?
First one I think of is probably 9 to 5. But my favorite one is "Here You Come Again."
Yeah.
Such a good song.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a lot of bluegrass stuff that I really like too. I really like bluegrass because I don't really sing bluegrass. I like to listen to it. Do you remember the song they were a one-hit wonder? It was a band called Collective Soul in the 90s. And they had a song called "Whoa, Heaven Let Your Light Shine Down." She did a bluegrass version of that song, and it is stellar. So good.
Hold on. Do you remember the name of the song? Was that
Shine?
Shine? Oh yeah, I remember Shine.
Yeah.
Had to let your light shine down.
Yeah. She's got a bluegrass version of that.
Oh yeah, I see it. Off the. Oh, my bad. Don't want to get Dolly after us up here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. She does a lot. They got a live version up here of it too.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, Dolly's done a little bit of everything. That last album though, I mean, you, let me see how many people she collaborated with on that.
And she's never
Rockstar,
believed
that
she'll
was
never,
it.
like she's just
Sting,
yeah.
Steve Perry, Ann Wilson, uh, Kid Rock, Steven Tyler. She does Purple Rain, Peter Frampton, Joan Jett, Chris Stapleton, Miley Cyrus, Pink, Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon, Debbie Harry, of course, from Blondie, Lizzo, Simon LeBon from Duran Duran. I mean, Michael McDonald. Gosh, that's another one, right? Michael McDonald, that voice.
Yeah.
Uh, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, Leonard Skinner. I mean, she does a little bit of everything up there. So yeah, you guys need to check that. That was on my album challenge list, and that definitely was one of my favorites. So yeah, Dolly, like you said, I think Mallory told me one time after Betty White died that Dolly Parton is the one we got to protect now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Betty White was. Everybody was like, nothing can happen to Betty White. Nothing can happen to Dolly Parton now.
She's an American treasure for
She
sure.
definitely is. All right, my number 8, and we're going to go country. Um, and I'll catch a lot of slack from this from some people, but these guys from day one, when they started, let's see, 1999, and now they've come back again to do like I guess it's going to be a reunion farewell, but Rascal Flats. Um, I love. I'm not only am I a sucker for ballads, but I'm a sucker for harmonies. And "Praying for Daylight," I think that was one of the first singles they came out with. The harmonies on there, I was like, "Holy crap!" And then it just kept getting better. Um, when they did, what was the song? "I'm Moving On."
Mm-hmm.
That first album really hooked me in, and then after that, man, one of my "What Hurts the Most" was a great song. They A lot of people don't know. I don't know if you know or not. The Broken Road, God Bless the Broken Road. That was a cover song. Um, and I'm trying to think of the name of the lady that did the song. The reason I knew, I don't, I watched Dawson Creek back in the day. I was a
Mm-hmm.
big Dawson Creek fan. One of the first season, one of the scenes where one of Dawson was looking for Joey or something like that. This lady was singing that song, and her version is actually better than theirs. But when I heard that, I was like, "Holy crap! They're doing the Broken Road." But I actually got to see them in concert. They opened up for Toby Keith. Uh, but I mean, they've done so many great songs. Melt, Skin, that one right there. Skin. I remember when that came out. There was actually a girl, a local girl, was going through pretty much the same thing when that came out. So that kind of hit home. There's a lot of artists that pattern themselves after them from that. I think I'll tell you what. You listen to Dan and Shay,
Oh yeah,
and
identical.
they sound like Rascal Flats. Their voice and everything sounds like Rascal Flats.
Yes.
Because the first time I heard a Dan and Shay song, I was like, I said, "That's Rascal Flats." And then Mallory said, "No, Daddy, that's Dan and Shay." But
Mm-hmm.
Rascal Flats, I mean, I just love listening to them. One of my favorite songs is "These Days."
Yeah.
The video was great. I can't remember which one of them. The dark-headed guy, kind of bigger dude. The girl in that video that was the lead singer kept talking to the whole time, like through the song. He ends up marrying her.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty good story. But yeah, Rascal Flats, I had to put them on the list because I had them off, but then I said I got to put them on the list. So.
Yeah, they were definitely in my top 20 for sure. And I wanted to put them up there too because probably really and truly out of everybody in this top 10 list, they probably vocally influenced me the most. I've got a lot of stuff. I used to listen to a lot of Rascal Flatts. I don't listen to them so much anymore, which is why I didn't put them in the top 10. But definitely probably 10 years ago, I would listen to them all the time.
Yeah.
Great, so many hits. They're up there, got to be up there with like the most top tens and number ones in country because they have had a lot of hits.
I'm trying to see how many they've had, but it doesn't say exactly how many without me counting everything. But yeah, they're uh, commemorate their 25th anniversary, 21 date tour, and it will end in February 2025. I don't think it's coming anywhere close by, though, from what I see. But
I like Rascal Flatts personally because it's all in my wheelhouse to sing their stuff. It's always in the range that I want to sing in. Whereas a lot of stuff I have to bring up because I don't sing as low as most of men do, especially in country music. So I've always enjoyed singing their songs. And
yeah,
fantastic band. Good choice.
there's a song, and I cannot remember who they did it's a duet. Oh gosh, who was the girl that they did it with? Because it's later, one of the later albums.
Oh, Easy with Natasha Bedingfield.
No, now that one's good too, but
Yeah.
this one's called "Are You Happy Now?"
I don't know that.
Geez, who was that girl? Hold on, bear with me, guys, because if you know me, this would drive me crazy till I found out. Because this is a more recent. Let's see. Yeah, no doubt. Lauren Elena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a real good one.
That's two big voices right there on one song. I swear.
Yeah, and the harmonies they do when both of them kick in and start singing, that it's great. So number 7 for you.
Number 7 is the Eagles.
Oh,
I also would have thought they would have been higher up on my list, but like I said, once you start adding the people up, but I am obsessed with the Eagles. I listen to them at work every single day because their music it's just chill, but it's so good at the same time. They're the ultimate. I mean, I think most people would tell you they're definitely in the top 3 greatest bands of all time. The Eagles are talk about harmonies. I mean, come on, you just
God.
doesn't get any better than that. And I also liked him as a solo artist when he came out with Don Henley when he came out with New York Minute. That's a great song.
Yeah,
He's just a phenomenal singer. I forget the other singer's name in the
Glenn
Eagles.
Fry.
Yeah. Also fantastic. But I was just talking to my bass player the other night at a show because Hotel California was playing after we were packing up at a show, and I do not like Hotel California. And he
Ooh,
yeah, he's like, we should play.
holy crap, Martin.
I know. I'm like, out of all the songs by the Eagles, and I love everything that they're put out, anything but that one. I don't know what it is. I don't hate it. I just don't
Is it fatigue?
do what.
Is it because of the fatigue? Because you've heard it so much?
It could be, but I just feel like Hotel California sounds totally different than everything else they've ever put out. It's like a totally different vibe, sound, everything.
Yeah, look, uh, the thing that I love most about that song is Joe Walsh and Don Felder doing the trading off the guitar solo.
Yeah.
That intro is one of the iconic intros right there. But yeah, there's so many. And look, let me tell you this: for a long time, I remember my dad listened to the Eagles a long run when it came out, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, look, nobody, you couldn't tell me anything but Kiss and the Bay City Rollers back when I was that age. And he was listening. I was like, I don't want to hear these guys. I always thought these are old guys. This is my dad. But when they did the Hell Froze Over tour,
Mm-hmm.
and they did the Unplugged, I got hooked. And
Yeah.
I have been hooked ever since. I
Mhm.
mean, I went back and listened to all the old stuff. I remember the girl I was dating at the time bought me Hotel California, the CD, and listening to that, I was like, geez, these guys are so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And that they were in my top 20, and I should have put them on my top 10. It's kind of like you can't leave a kid out.
Yeah.
But yeah, gosh, just like you said, so many great songs. I'll tell you another singer up there, Timothy Schmidt, the
Mm-hmm.
bass player. I can't tell you why, but he also did a cover song for a Beach Boys tribute album. If you have never heard it, he does Caroline No.
Uh-huh.
The Beach Boys are in my top 22
Mm-hmm.
because they do the harmonies, but that the version he does of that with the Beach Boys singing background vocals, holy crap! You need to listen to that because they put it on that.
There's so many bands, especially that time, and even into the '80s and whatnot, that had some great background vocals, like the Beach Boys, Bee Gees. Um, but the Eagles are the epitome of background vocals. Nobody has ever done background vocals better than them.
And to sit there and watch them on the doc. I don't know. Have you ever watched that documentary they did, the history of the Eagles?
No, but I should.
Yes, you need to check it out. As a matter of fact, if you can't find it, let me know. I've got the DVDs because it was so good. I couldn't find it anywhere streaming. I think you had to pay some god awful outrageous amount to watch it. So I just bought the DVDs. But to see them backstage and they're warming up and they just all come together and just like that they hit the harmonies just like they're supposed to. I think
Right.
they were doing Seven Bridges Road
Oh God.
and and they hit the harmonies just right, just like that. I mean, because some of them had been off and somewhere else, and they all came up and said, "Come on, let's get it straight." And first time they get it right, and I'm like, "Holy crap!"
Well, you know who tours with them now? As if they couldn't get any better. Vince Gills.
Vince Gill,
I mean, God.
perfect guy to replace somebody with Vince Gill with
Yeah.
the Eagles. And then Glenn Fry's son is taking his spot, singing some of his songs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, Vince Gill fits right in. I mean,
And he's such a good guitar player. People don't really think about that when they think about Vince Gill. But
you need to go back and listen to Vince Gill's Guitar Slinger album if you don't think Vince Gill can play guitar.
mm-hmm.
Uh, that guy is phenomenal on guitar.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. He was in a band back in the 70s called, I think it was called Pure Prairie League, and they
Mm-hmm.
did a song called Amy. I know you've heard it, uh, but somehow, some way, Pure Prairie League ends up opening up for a still in makeup, still in their prime Kiss. And I'm like, Vince Gill opening for Kiss. Something ain't fitting right here. And Vince
Yeah.
Gill, that crowd was booing us off the stage. It just, but um, yeah, Eagles. Now I'm thinking about it, they should have been in my top 10, but they're definitely in my top 20.
Well, Vince Gill should have been my top 10, but he's not. But he was top 20 too.
Yeah. So number 7 for me, and this anybody that knows, like I told Mark before we came on the air, when I do a top 10 list, you might as well say top 11 because it's a tie. The first one is back from the 80s again, and this is the second solo artist, straight out of Canada, Mr. Bryan Adams.
Oh yeah.
1984 comes along. He does the Reckless album. That's when I really started uh, getting into Bryan Adams. What was Summer of '69? Still, I think one of his best songs.
Yeah.
No doubt. One Night Love Affair. And then you get into like the ballads, and of course everybody. And I guess it's a little bit of fatigue for me. Everything I do it for you from the Robin Hood soundtrack. Still a great song, but I kind of like, and no need for the 2-minute instrumental thing at the end of the song.
Yeah.
You could cut it off after about 30 seconds. It would have been fine. But that one's kind of got some fatigue with me.
Heaven.
Heaven. Yes, Heaven. I'll tell you what, there's one he did, and I don't know if it's on a studio album or it's on his unplugged album. I'll Always Be Right There.
Mm-hmm.
And then Please Forgive Me was a good one. That was off one of the single he released on his greatest hits album. Then he did one that was on the soundtrack for Robin Williams movie Jack called Star, which is a little different. It's not a ballad, but it's a good. Bryan Adams. I mean, I don't hear many bad Bryan Adams songs.
Have you heard the duet he did with Tina Turner?
Yes, it's only love.
Yeah, love that.
Oh yeah, they did that. Speaking of Live Aid, they performed that live at Live Aid that day. The song with Barbara Streisand, I finally found someone.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. Gosh, I could go on and on about that, but Bryan Adams, it's still going to this day. Um, believe it or not, Kiss did an album called Creatures of the Night that went back to like they had got away from like the hard rock stuff. They did an album called Creatures of the Night, and there's a song on there called Rock and Roll Hell. There's two songs, Rock and Roll Hell and War Machine. Bryan Adams co-wrote both of those songs, and they were talking about it. Somebody that's on a Kiss podcast or something said they were backstage with him or something, and they were talking about, you remember that song War Machine Kiss did? And said Bryan Adams pulled out his acoustic guitar and started playing the intro to it, and he was singing it. And actually, I think he actually re-recorded Rock and Roll Hell recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, when I saw it, I was like floored. Bryan Adams co-wrote, which, Michael Bolton co-wrote a song with Kiss too. But all right, the tie at number 7, and we're going to go R&B for the first time. And I just saw in the news where these guys are getting their own documentary coming out and a biopic getting ready to come out. Boys and Men. The harmonies these guys did, and look, they could do no wrong. Their debut album comes out Cooley High Harmony, and then the soundtrack to the movie Boomerang. They do End of the Road, and End of the Road just sets the charts on fire. They come out with their second album simply called 2, and Boys and Men is just, they can do no wrong. On Bended Knee, I'll Make Love to You. It was so many great songs, and then even the albums after that for a while. I know people change, fads come and go, but how these guys, they still sound great. They did that great song with Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day.
Mm-hmm.
How these guys aren't like as popular anymore, but I think they do a Las Vegas residency. But I love these guys to this day. I know they're getting ready to get the fourth member back. I think they had the guy that used to do all the bass voice and all the talking. I believe he's coming back. I don't know how limited he will be, but yeah, Boys and Men is my tie for number 7. But such a great band.
Yes, it is. And it's so weird that you said them because that kind of leads into my number 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You already said it. And this is so random, but people that really know me know how obsessed I am with this person, but Mariah Carey.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just say it's such a random thing for me, but not really because she's, honestly, one of the greatest singers on earth. One Sweet Day that she did with Boyz II Men is fantastic. I know she's had her moments, throughout the years, and
yeah,
but just a true icon and one of the greatest voices and the greatest range a person's ever had. And I just so many hits. She's got she is just underneath the Beatles for the most number 1 singles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
The Beatles and then her. Yep.
There's a song that, and I probably not a big Mariah Carey fan as you are, but back in the day when she came out, I went out about the tape, the first album, when she did I Don't Want to Cry.
Yeah.
And when she does that little bridge,
mm-hmm.
and then she goes back into the I don't want to, and she hits that note, I was like, good gosh, this is like sing. Yeah, she's had her moments over the years, but it doesn't take away from her voice.
Yeah, I'm mostly talking about the 90s her. I still do like her now. But the 90s her.
The 90s Mariah Carey, yeah, I agree.
Just you don't get any better than that.
Yeah, and you think about it, at the same time she's out there, we got another great voice like Whitney Houston out there, who is in my top 20.
Top 20.
yeah, Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and I think they actually did a song together for I think it was the Prince of Egypt soundtrack. I can't remember the name of that song, but what wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But
Yeah.
you know, would have loved to hear it go in a different direction. But yeah, Mariah Carey definitely, I can see that. She's
Yeah.
got such a great voice.
Yeah, Whitney Houston's in my top 20. And they're very similar to me. I appreciate both of them the same, two of the biggest vocalists ever, but I just don't I mean, I like some of Whitney Houston's songs, but I just don't a lot of her stuff's the same to me, but she's probably got the greatest voice on earth. I mean, let's be honest. But Mariah Carey has so many hits and just great songs. That's why I kind of chose her over Whitney Houston.
Listening to her first few albums and then listening to that last album she did, that goes to show you what drugs and doing things, not taking care of your voice will do to you. Because her voice was so, I mean, she couldn't hit the high notes, and I mean, and I would say that comes with age, but she was still young.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a factor she didn't take care of, so she abused herself, didn't take care of her voice. So, but yeah, Whitney Houston's definitely in my top 20 as well. Um, what's all right favorite Mariah Carey song?
Called "Can't Let Go"
Yep.
or "Anytime You Need a Friend."
Yeah. What was that song she did? I want to say 98 Degrees was in on it.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. That's not my favorite.
They were in the video, but it wasn't that great of a song.
Yeah.
I think she did that after the Boys and Men thing. I think she was trying to recreate the Boys and Men thing, but it didn't work. But
and One Day, I mean, that's up there too for me. I mean,
oh gosh,
oh god,
the live version. They did a live version of One Sweet Day. They put out on the when they did like cassette singles. They did a live version on the B side of it that was better than the original version because to hear the crowd in there with it was it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, number 6 for me. And let's see. We're going to go back. And this is one I know you've heard a lot because your mom was probably like me, was a big fan of them. And they hit big time in 1986. They're all over the radio. Of course, it didn't hurt that the lead singer had the long hair and he was everybody, oh, he's so awesome looking. And I was like, oh. But anyway, great music. I got it. I'll say this. I got into this band before they hit it big. The album before, and I'm going to say Bon Jovi. Slippery When Wet was when they really took off. But there was the album before that called 7800 Fahrenheit. And I thought it was great. There were so many great songs on that album. He craps on it all the time. He hardly plays any of the songs off of it live ever since that tour. But he craps, and I think I was like, this is what made me a fan of you. Don't crap on it.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel the same way, but when they hit with "You Give Love a Bad Name," that was all over the radio, and the next album, New Jersey, just sells like crazy. And he's, like I said, Bon Jovi can do no wrong at that time. And I'll say this about Bon Jovi: when the grunge era hit, he's one of the few bands from the 80s era that made it through, that was still popular, that could still sell out arenas, of that kind of band. They adapted to it and did a great job with. Now, the last few albums, especially the one before, now this last album, the newest album that came out, I do like because it's an upbeat album, but he came out with one during the COVID time called, I think it was 2020 or 2021 was the name of it. If it'll make you want to slit your wrist. It's not, and I mean, I know Bon Jovi can't sing about, they're in their 60s. They can't sing about the same kind of stuff they sang about back in the day. But nobody wants to hear Bon Jovi turn into Bruce Springsteen. I'm sorry. Everybody wants to hear Bon Jovi be a upbeat band, and this album got back to it. And you know, his voice struggles. They did a good job with it in the studio on the studio album. I know he probably won't tour, but yeah, so many great songs from Bon Jovi. Um, Trying to think of, gosh, there was a song that actually wasn't released on what you would call a regular studio album called "Edge of a Broken Heart."
Mm-hmm.
It was on a soundtrack for, believe it or not, the movie by the rap group the Fat Boys
Mm-hmm.
called Disorderlies, on the Edge of a Broken Heart. But it's also on a compilation album, I believe. But This Ain't a Love Song is another one that's favorite. It's these days, that album, these days, it came out when the grunge era hit. I was like, this is going to be crap. I bought it, and it's one of my favorite Bon Jovi albums. A lot of people say, well, New Jersey and Slippery When Wet are great. And I was like, yeah, but this album is just right there with it to me. But yeah, Bon Jovi's my number 6. And I know you heard a lot of Bon Jovi with your mom.
Oh God, yeah. We just started covering "You Give Love a Bad Name" because I mean, any cover band like what we're doing, if you're not covering a Bon Jovi song, I mean, what's the point? But that song, honestly, and I didn't think it would be, but that's like I look forward to that song every night because it's just a lot of fun to play it. And it's new. It's one of the newer ones, so I look forward to it because of that too. But it really is such an awesome song. We tried to do the biggest song of his. What's it called?
Living on a Prayer.
Yes, but I could not do that in a show every night. There's no way. It
What
is
what gives you trouble in that?
vocally. It is,
Really? Look, now
yeah.
this is the guy. This is the guy that listen, guys. I told the story before. The first time I went to see Martin play, uh, I'm listening to him. I was like, okay, he's good. And then I hear him take a Journey song start playing, and I was like, oh, he's gonna take on Steve Perry. Let's see what he and Martin hit it, and I was like, okay, he's got pipes because he didn't miss a beat with that. So Living on a Prayer gave you problem. I mean, that's
It's because he's got a lot of screaming in it, like the
oh yeah,
have
yeah.
he's up there. I mean,
Yeah.
Journey is hard enough for me, but that particular song is impossible for me to sing. It really is. So I said, nah, scratch this.
I don't blame you there, but yeah, Living on a Prayer, that's played at just about every sporting event. I know when you go to an ECU football game, sometime in the second half they're going to break out with that, and the crowd is going to end up singing. They're going to cut it off, and the crowd's going to end up singing the song. So yeah, that's an iconic song, right? That's probably Bon Jovi's big song right there. Is Living on a Prayer.
For sure.
All right, getting in the second half now. You're number 5.
Brooks and Dunn.
Boogie.
Love Brooks and Dunn. Ronnie Dunn is the greatest vocalist in country music history ever, hands down. Nobody can outsing him. Not Chris Stapleton, not anybody. Ronnie Dunn is vocally the best I've ever heard in country music. And up there in general for me. Great hits. We play like 4 of their songs in our show, and I want to keep adding more songs by Brooks and Dunn, but I'm like, we can't do a whole Brooks and Dunn show.
Yeah, you'll turn into a Brooks and Dunn cover band.
Really, that's pretty much what we are. And the guys don't love it as much as I do, but that's just, and it's not even that I'm trying to do all their songs. I just am thinking of good songs we can cover, and a Brooks and Dunn one comes up every single time.
Let me guess, one of them's Neon Moon.
We do Neon Moon. It's not my favorite because it's another one of those like been drilled in your head over and over. But we do it, and we do My Maria, which is a fun one. Yeah. We do God, what is it called? Brand New Man.
Yeah.
Brand New Man. And then acoustic show I do that slow song that had Old Man Wrigley lived in that White House.
I believe, and
I love that.
That's an awesome song right there. I love that song. I was going to bring that up. there's a lot of Brooks and Dunn songs. Of course, Neon Moon, like you said, that's I think just about everybody. I know Noel broke out singing that in one of our episodes, but she actually did her last song called "Natural Numbers," which we were talking about last week. She co-wrote that with the guy that helped co-write "Rock My World, Little Country Girl."
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the guy's name right off the top of my head, but I was like, well, that's pretty iconic. That'd be able to work with somebody. That's a really good Brooks and Dunn song. Let's see, "Ain't No Way to Go" is another good
Oh God,
Brooks
yeah.
and Dunn song. Um,
Ain't nothing about you.
yeah, and then everybody remembers the duet they did with Reba. If you see him or if you see her, yeah, look, '90s country music was so freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, back in the '80s, I shied away from country music. I was like, no, until Garth came along.
Well,
That's when,
country music was dead during the '80s. It was terrible, honestly.
yeah, I mean,
Dude,
I just didn't want anything to do with it.
it's
And
awful.
but the '90s changed everything for me.
Well, and I guess I should probably say too, um, there were so many '90s countries artists that made my top 20 that I didn't put in my top 10, like Keith Whitley, who I love,
Oh
and
yeah,
Travis Tritt, who I love. There's so many great
Travis
ones
Tritt's in
in
my
the
top
'90s.
20.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Tracy Lawrence, the list goes on and on. There's so many from the '90s that I love.
Well, you talked about it earlier, Vince Gill. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's so many. Like I said, that was what got me into country music. Was the '90s country. Garth Brooks started it, and then I think Trisha Yearwood. She could be in my. She definitely could be it. If we do when we do country artists, she would definitely be up there. But yeah, um, Trisha Yearwood doing "Walk Away Joe" with Don Henley. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with those harmonies up there,
Mm-hmm.
freaking awesome. But all right, number 5 for me, and this is another one that your mom probably listened to back in the day. Uh, Going to R&B again, and a connection to Boys and Men because one of the members of this group was the one that discovered Boys and Men. Talking about New Edition. Uh, New Edition. I remember my birthday in 1984. I got birthday money, and they took me to the mall in Front Rapids. Like I said, Camelot Music was the only record store around. I mean, you had Kmart, but Camelot Music had everything.
Mm-hmm.
I should own as much money as I spent it. I should have had stock in it. Um, but so I go in there, I buy Kiss Animalize, I buy Prince Purple Rain, and then I buy New Edition, the self-titled New Edition album. Cool It Now, Lost in Love, Mr. Telephone Man. I mean,
Is New Edition what Bobby Brown was in?
yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
where Bobby Brown started.
Yes.
Um, and then Bobby Brown's ego checked him out the door, which I mean worked out really good for him. He became one of the biggest R&B solo artists of all time. But yeah, when and they just kept right on going after Bobby Brown left. They did an album of all like '60s songs, which was really great. They did an Earth Angel, which was on the Karate Kid 2 soundtrack. Then they get even better, and I mean people argue back and forth about this. They add Johnny Gill to the group,
Mhm.
and when Bobby Brown, well, this is a couple of records after Bobby Brown's gone. They had Johnny Gill to do, and I know you've heard the song "Can You Stand the Rain."
Oh yeah.
Uh, Freaking awesome! One of the best New Edition songs out there is "Can You Stand the Rain," and
You
then they did
uh,
if it isn't love.
uh
Uh, but yeah, if you ever get a chance, I don't know if I think it's on YouTube. The document, not documented, the biopic they did, the New Edition story. That is freaking awesome. And this was one that the band did. The band had a final say on everything in there, and they didn't hold back anything. Something bad happened, it was in there. But yeah, they're back together. I actually watched on YouTube not too long ago. They do a Las Vegas residency,
Yeah.
and they still put on a great show. Still
Yeah.
got their voice is still great. But all right, number 4 for you.
Journey.
How did I know that was coming up?
Yeah. But I honestly I'll have to give it a tie since you gave it a tie earlier.
Okay.
Because it's not really a tie. I mean, Journey is my top favorite band of all time for sure. But I really wanted to throw Aerosmith into the top 10. They were number 11 for me for sure. I love Aerosmith. And they're nothing alike Journey and Aerosmith whatsoever. But I just want to make sure I threw Aerosmith out there. But Journey, obviously, like you said earlier, I've covered different songs by Journey. Steve Perry is another one of the top 10 greatest vocalists of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny because some people don't think so. Like my dad does not like Journey. He does not like Steve Perry. He doesn't like that kind of singing like that. He's not like a Vince Gill fan. So really, he probably hates how I sing because he doesn't like it. Guys that sing higher than the average guy. But yeah, Journey's been a big influence on me. Great songs, so many hits.
Gosh.
Thing that they kind of didn't. I mean, they lasted for a while, as the original group. It's still going now, but most of the members are gone. But just a great band.
I was introduced to them with the Escape album.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everybody knew Open Arms. That was all over the radio. But
Mm-hmm.
we got the Escape cassette. And so many great songs. Because, like I said, when you bought a cassette back in the day, you listened to it front to back. You didn't skip songs. You just listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Stone in Love.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another song on there. Still They Ride
Mm-hmm.
is a great song. So then they do like the Frontiers album, which was great, but then they take like a hiatus. I guess Steve Perry did his solo album with O'Sherry and Foolish Heart,
Mm-hmm.
but then they come back, and one of my favorite Bon Jovi Journey albums, Raised on Rock, which had so many great. Girl Can't Help It, I'll Be All Right Without You, Why Can't This Night Go On Forever, Suzanne,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame that they couldn't get along. I know there was a lot of issues with Neil Schon and Steve Perry. And Steve Perry wanted to take a break. But then they come back again and they do Trial by Fire with When You Love a Woman is the big hit off that. And that doesn't last long. I think Steve Perry had some health issues after that. But, and nothing against Arnell. I know there's been a lot said here lately that he said he took a poll and said, if you guys don't want me back in the band or don't want me to keep on with the band, then let it vote here and all that. And then a lot of the other band members, I know one blasted social media for even considering that, because Arnell, I mean, he's the closest thing I've ever heard to Steve Perry.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's still, to me, I like him, but he's still not Steve Perry. It's still not the same. But still love Journey. I mean, so many great, like you said, so many great songs. One of the most embarrassing videos I've ever seen was, gosh, what was the name of that? They're all playing like air guitar and air keyboard in the parking lot. Gosh, what's the name of that song? I can see them right now doing it. If you must go, I'm singing it in my head. Chris Daughtry did a cover of it with Chains That Bind You One Night Will Separate Ways.
Yeah.
Separate Ways. The song is awesome. The video is embarrassing. I mean, you need to watch the video one time. You'll see what I'm talking about. It is. I don't know who came up with that idea, but they should have fired them for that idea. But, like you said, Steve Perry has got one of the most iconic voices in music. I mean, my mom always said, and I have to disagree with her because I keep finding more and more. She said, "There's two voices that I think are the most iconic that I know I could pick out whenever they're singing. Is Elvis Presley and Chris Daughtry." And she's biased, of course, because she's a big fan of
Yeah.
Elvis and Chris. But I see what she's talking about. But still, Steve Perry's up there. You know when that's a Steve Perry song.
Yes, you do.
All right, number 4 for me. And this one was kind of iffy for me. I almost left them off the list, but then I got to thinking about it. I go back and listen to these guys right much. Uh, and between which lead singer, one of the two lead singers, uh, I actually enjoy the songs of one of the lead singers better. I'm talking about Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
Got introduced, of course. I actually got introduced with the album before 1984 when they took off was Diver Down. And they did a cover of Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman, which I thought was awesome. And that's another video that is stupid. I don't know what they were thinking there.
The
But
Van Halen version?
yeah. Van Halen did a video for that. If you ever watch that, you'll see what were they thinking there too. That's something we can do too, is a stupid video countdown. But
up there.
yeah, 1984 took off with Jump, and David Lee Roth decides, well, we're not getting along. I want to do a movie, and I'm going to do my own thing. He does an EP called Crazy from the Heat. Things just go cuckoo, go crazy, and they split up. And next thing you know, Sammy Hagar is the lead singer for Van Halen. Mm-hmm. And I'll go ahead and tell you, this is probably not a popular opinion, but I enjoy the Sammy Hagar Van Halen songs more than I do the Van Halen David Lee Roth songs.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sammy Hagar, while it doesn't sound the same, of course, when he does something like Jump, but I think he can pull it off.
Yeah.
Panama, but I don't think David Lee Roth could pull off the Sammy Hagar songs. That's why they did, when David Lee Roth came back, you never saw them attempt to do anything like Dreams or Why Can't This Be Love? 5150, when that came out, and I know I was probably like a lot of people, out of curiosity, just to hear what they sounded like, I went out and bought it, and I was like, they're not missing a beat. Mm-hmm. And a lot, I probably have more. If I did a top 10 list, it would be more Sammy Hagar than David Lee Roth. And granted, he was in there longer, but still, that didn't have anything to do with it for me. He did a lot of great songs, but unfortunately, Eddie Van Halen passes away. One of the greatest guitar players you'll ever see,
for sure.
And I mean, it's just a shame that you hear a lot of things about him and Sammy Hagar couldn't get along. Sammy Hagar goes out of the band. David Lee Roth comes back. It goes back and forth for a while, but and I'll tell you this, another harmony guy, and people don't realize it. I don't think a lot of people, unless you're a big Van Halen fan, Michael Anthony, the bass player for Van Halen, his harmonies make a lot of the songs. There's a song that they did called off the Balance album, Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do.
Mm-hmm.
And his harmonies on that, they did actually during COVID. Sammy Hagar's band that he had, which had Michael Anthony and I think Jason Bonham was in it, and another, I forget the guitar player. They did they did a studio version of Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do, and they were all of course separated, but you can really hear the harmonies Michael Anthony does on that one. That was just freaking awesome. But yeah, Van Halen's my number 4.
Yeah, I love it. They're great.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be in my top 20. My mom loves them. She wore them out for me, but she did Journey too. I stuck with Journey, I guess. But Van Halen was kind of in their own lane. Their own sound. Nobody really was sounding like them. They were really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one album that Van Halen did that I could not get anything out of. That was when Gary Cherone from Extreme, he was the lead singer for that album, and they had one good song up there. After that, I don't know what they were doing. The whole sound was totally different than any
Mhm.
Van Halen album you ever hear. I just could not get into it, and that's the only album that I really have not enjoyed from Van Halen. So number three, we're in the top three now.
Number 3 is Chris Stapleton.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I'm a huge fan. I always tell people Chris Stapleton is one of my favorites. He is obviously great vocalist, great songs. I love the bluesy
oh
feel,
yeah.
soulful feel that he brought back to country music. And honestly, I mean, there's a lot of them that are doing it, but nobody does it like him. Um, just a killer songwriter, killer singer, guitar player, all the above. Not the greatest performer in the world. He's not jumping around on stage by any means. Him or the next person, my number 2. They're both the same way. Neither one of them, but they don't really have to do a whole lot.
No, if you don't have to, you don't have to.
No. So, and I know how that is because I'm not jumping around on stage either. I'm way too fat to be jumping around on stage like a crazy person. And but yeah, Chris Stapleton number 3 for me, just self-explanatory. One of the greatest artists of music.
I'm ashamed to say it, but I just about a couple of weeks ago listened to on my album channel, listened to Traveler,
Mm-hmm.
and holy crap, such a great album. Like you said,
Yeah.
such. I mean, you hear songs that tell stories, and I mean he could do it. And he kind of started. I don't know if it was him. I feel like it was him that started that trend of country music going back to that kind of sound again.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so.
yeah, I would think it would be him. Um, but yeah, Chris Stapleton, gosh, uh, what is it? Tennessee whiskey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's such a freaking awesome song.
Well, I hate it now because we have played it ever since the band started,
I
and
was getting ready to say you played it a lot.
we've played it a lot. And it's even if I didn't play in a band, it's the most overplayed song in the history of country music. But if I think back to how I felt about it when it first came out, I remember, and my God, I mean, what a vocal performance! That's a cover song. It was originally done by George Jones. Uh,
Yeah.
Not a fan of George's version. Not really a big fan of George Jones in general, and I get so much flack for saying
Well,
that, but I'm just not. But
he's really not. I mean, a lot of people love George Jones, and there's some songs I like that he did, but it's not one. He's not one I'm gonna go. Yeah, I got to go to listen to George Jones today.
mhm,
No, I'm right there with you on that.
yeah,
It's almost like in the rock world, people with Led Zeppelin.
hmm
You can't be a rock fan with some people if you don't like Led Zeppelin. And I mean, there's some songs I like, but I'm not like. I'm sorry, I'm not going out seeking out listening to Stairway to Heaven. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm not. There's some songs that I like better than Stairway to Heaven, and it's not just cause of fatigue. It's because I don't like the freaking song.
yeah,
It's too
yeah,
long.
yep.
But that's just me, and I think that's the same way. Like same comparison with George Jones.
hmm
All right, number three, and like I said, you can tell the kind of music I was really into, and that it really with me. Number three for me is Motley Crue.
hmm
Um, I was introduced my cousin had the Shout at the Devil album, which when I tell people you shout at the devil, you freaking devil worshiper or something. No, but that album was dark, and if you look at every Motley Crue album, each album, the next album change their sound and their look changes like dramatically. Shout the Devil was you had the Shout at the Devil song, you had Too Young to Fall in Love, you had Looks to Kill, dark, black looking, uh, devilish looking. Then you go to Theater of Pain with Home Sweet Home, one of the and like I said with Alone, that Home Sweet Home could be up there in the top 10 song for me. Um, they go glam. They're wearing little gloves and glam looking stuff, purple colors and pink. Then they go to Girls, 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 and they're motorcycle guys.
hmm
But and Dr. Feelgood, which I think is almost a perfect album.
hmm
They're just basic Motley Crue. They're not anything in that one. But Uh, Lord, like I said, "Home Sweet Home" is started the whole power ballad trend for that kind of artist. I mean, it was all over the place. The video is one of my favorite videos of all time. Um,
That's
and
another song. We tried to do that band too, Home Sweet Home. That's another hard song for me vocally.
that's hard for you,
I guess it must be the high note rasp songs.
right? Oh
Tonight
yeah, because he's got that rasp in it. Yeah, you're right.
is
Oh gosh, I would love to hear Benai play the keyboard, the outro and the intro to
it
it.
was great. It was. It was in the very beginning when we did that. And I just was like, I can't do this every night. I can do it here and there. Paradise
Right.
is another song that was like that. We added it to the
Oh,
show.
that's raspy too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had to take it out because it's just But
But
yeah, Sweet Home is sick. That song
yeah,
is
"Home Sweet Home" is probably my favorite Motley Crue song.
for sure.
Um, they went through some personnel changes over the years, but now they just did an EP called "Cancelled," which is they're first with a new lead guitarist with John Five as a lead guitarist, which was good. It was a dark, eerie, kind of an eerie sounding, and they did. Look, let me tell you this: Motley Crue does they do cover songs, probably about 5 or 6 cover songs, and here lately they need to lay out the cover songs. They did a cover of the Beastie Boys' "Fight for Your Right."
Hmm.
No, the Dirt soundtrack they did a cover for "Like a Virgin" by Madonna.
Oh my god,
Horrible, horrible.
I
Stay
bet.
away from the cover song. They did it early on. They did a cover song of Elvis's. They did a live version of "Jailhouse Rock," which was okay.
Hmm.
But they, like I said, Dr. Feelgood at that time, that was another artist that could do no wrong at that time. Motley Crue was on top of the world.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and I'll tell you this: when whether you believe Vince was fired or he quit the band, they come out with a new album with lead singer John Sarabi, who was from the Scream. Um, that album gets a lot of crap from Motley Crue fans.
Hmm.
But if that album had come out with another band's name on it, people would have loved it. It was
Hmm.
just not a Motley Crue album. That album is great. It is great, but it's just not a Motley Crue album. Uh, People don't give it a chance. I love it. But yeah, Motley Crue is just, like I said, they did the stadium tour. They said they were retired, but I guess money got so good that they even wrote a contract and said they wouldn't get together again. Then they blew that up. So yeah, Motley Crue, that's my number 3.
I feel like I can almost guess. I'd be willing to put money on who your number two is because I know who your number one is.
I bet you know who my number 2 is.
I guarantee it is who I'm thinking. I would be willing to place a lot of money on it if I had.
Probably so. Probably so. All right, who's your number 2?
Number two is George Strait.
Oh gosh.
And I mean, I went back and forth number one and number two, but obviously my number one, you already know who that is too. And I mean, just got to always number one. But number two, George Strait, he is the king of country music. He's my favorite artist. Right after the other person. And talk about hits. I mean, he's had, I don't know, close to 60 number one singles. Only thing about George Strait, he didn't write but 2 of them. He's not a writer. A lot of people don't know that because he's, you know, the greatest, but he's not a big writer. But why do you really need to be, I guess, when you're
Exactly.
George Strait? So I can't give him any flack for that. But he did write one number one, Here for a Good Time, which is not my favorite, but it's a great song. But there's not one song by George Strait. That's how I knew I had to put him as number two because pretty much everybody else I named, I can name a couple songs by them and I'm like, okay, that sucks. There's not one song by George Strait that is not at least decent. Not
Yeah,
one.
you're right. Like I said, I became a country music fan in the 90s. And he was probably right up there at the beginning too, because this movie, Pure Country, comes out
Mm-hmm.
and he's in it. Not the best actor in the world at all, but geez, when he when he came out at the end and sang that acoustic version of "I Cross My Heart."
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap! I was like, all right, I gotta know more about this guy. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'd heard about all my exes live in Texas and all that stuff from the '80s and stuff, but from there on in, anytime you can do a album with 50 number ones on it,
Yeah.
you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so let's see, what are the ones that pop out at me right there? Gosh, I can still make Cheyenne.
Yes, God.
Man, the Man in Love with You. Um, Cross My
Run.
Heart. That whole Pure Country album,
Mm-hmm.
top to bottom. I wore that thing out. I
Well, I
mean,
still make Cheyenne. I think is everybody's favorite by him. I mean, that's
oh,
just.
I'm gonna say the obvious one to me is my favorite, and the one that got me started. I Cross My Heart,
Oh
and
yeah.
I would listen to that acoustic version over the album version anytime. He freaking killed it on that. But I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here trying to think.
My favorite is Run. Slow
Is
song
what?
called Run.
Run? Yes, yes.
So good.
Um, there's one we did. I actually did when I was doing videography. I did for my dad for Father's Day called the Best Day. Uh, which was yeah, it floors me now. But gosh, there's another one that I'm not thinking. It was a more recent one. I saw God today. Uh, that one is freaking awesome. I mean, that'll give you chills. Have you froze up on me? There he's back. There we
There-
go. You froze up for a second. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw God today is one that I really love.
Yes.
Um, but there's so many. Gosh, and I now hold on.
I like the song Heartland by Pure Country.
Yes,
That's a good song.
like I said, Last in Love. Um, let's see, Troubadour.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Write this down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Wrapped.
I'll tell you another one that is actually from the '80s that a friend of mine, got me to listen to, and I love it. Is The Chair.
Oh yeah. That's like that's
That one was freaking awesome.
yes.
Carried Away.
Mm-hmm.
This was the one I was trying to think of. Easy Come, Easy Go.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you get 50 straight hits. I think that's the name of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Pure Country from top, like I said, from top to bottom. Heartland, Baby Your Baby, I Crossed My Heart. When Did You Stop Loving Me? Uh, the the King of Broken Hearts, Where the Sidewalk Ends. Um, really, the only one that I don't listen to over and over again. It's still good, but she lays it all on the line off that album. But I mean, that whole freaking album I could listen to back forwards and backwards. Yeah,
You know,
George Strait.
something funny about him is he is, no matter what anybody says, he is the biggest country star that there is pretty much. I mean, you can argue George Jones and Merle Haggard and whoever, but he pretty much is. But he never lived in Nashville. He's not a member of the Grand Ole Opry. He's only played Opry twice. He's remained in Texas. I don't know what the deal there is, but not being a member of
How
the
is
Grand
he not
Ole
in the
Opry,
Grand Ole Opry?
he played it twice, and something about they only like to choose people that are based in Tennessee. So there's two country music scenes. There's Nashville and then there's Austin, Texas. And people that are out of Texas, they just really don't make members. But it's George Strait, so it's something must have happened there. I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, and if I'm thinking right, probably your number one just recently got in the Grand Ole Opry, and they've been around for a while. And that I couldn't believe that when I heard that either.
Yeah.
George Strait shocks me a little bit more than that person, but
Well, but
because
then
he
they
just
ran people in the Opry that have been out for like a couple of years that are just
oh
great.
yeah, I mean yeah, you see it all the time with these
Mhm.
random ones that haven't hardly had any hits, they'll get asked to be in the Opry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you another one that was in my top 20 but didn't make the list. Brad Paisley.
Yeah, he's
Brad
great.
Paisley is just a great guitar player, just like you said about we talked about Vince Gill. Brad Paisley can play the heck of a guitar,
Mm.
and he's got songs that tell so many great stories. But I had to bring Brad Paisley when you started talking about that. But
And you know what? You just saying that, I made a huge mistake on this list because he is somebody really similar to him. I would, if I have thought about him, and I don't know why I didn't, would have totally been like top 5 on this list. So I screwed up there, but that's Keith Urban. So let me just
oh
mention
yeah,
him because he's definitely one of my favorites for sure. I should have taken somebody out and put. I just completely forgot.
yeah, we'll have to do one show where you get to pick like a couple of mulligans, take somebody out, put somebody else in.
Mm.
Uh, all right, so my number 2, and Martin thinks he knows who it is, but he's probably right.
Let me try to
This is
get first
okay.
because of that era, and I see kind of where you're going. Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh no, you're wrong. Oh gosh, no. Ozzy's in my top 20.
He's
This
not.
is he's in my top 20.
Uh,
Because I got into Ozzy about 85 when
mhm.
he went the Ultimate Sin. But this one, oh gosh, I thought you knew for sure. This is a
Mhm.
different era. And this is probably a little biased on my part, but uh, because it's a local boy, uh, it's
Yeah.
Daughtry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daughtry, when, you know, Chris grew up for the first 14 years of his life in Alaska, in the little
Mhm.
town I'm in, and he moved away to Virginia, and then all of a sudden, you didn't hear about him, and all of a sudden, I'm talking to my mom and said, "Well, I just talked to his grandma, and Chris is going to be on American." I said, "Chris who?" I said, "Chris." She said, "Chris Daughtry." I was like, "He can sing," and yeah, so we watched American Idol, and everything just took off with him. He's bald headed. Uh, man, he put a show on American Idol.
Yes, he
Uh,
did.
to hear some of the songs he did on that, and I wish he would if he could do a cover album of some of them songs, because he killed it. Uh, Stevie Wonder's gosh, what was the name of that song? Red Hot Chili Peppers did it too. I can't think of the name of it now. It'll come to me later.
Mm-hmm.
But probably the best thing in the world though was when he got voted off, because he wasn't stuck to having to do what the American Idol people. Yeah, that
Yeah.
contract, and he actually said that too. So he formed his own band. He actually got offered before he got off American Idol to be the lead singer. Higher Ground. Thank you, Robert Matthews. Higher Ground. He did Higher Ground, and he killed it on that. And then he did the Elvis song, "Suspicious Minds." That was, but he offered to have the lead singers for the band Fuel. I don't know if you remember Fuel
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was offered that job, but he wanted to go out on his own, releases that first album, and man, I mean, I
Hits.
remember when he came back after, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks after he was voted off Idol. He did a concert on the baseball field at Northeast Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I was at My parents were out of town. Me and my wife and my daughter stayed at their house, and you look across there. There was a lady from New Jersey that drove all the way from freaking New Jersey, spent the night in the Northeast Academy parking lot so she could be there for that concert.
Wow.
And he did the only really song that he did he did Home that day. And he said, "This is kind of fitting, and this is about home." And this was before the album came out or anything. And I was like, that freaking song right there is going to be a hit.
And it was.
It was. And I mean, he goes on to do, I mean, the second album comes out September, which a lot of people don't know is about Lasker. He played that. I got the inside scoop that he played that for his dad, and it talked about it was about Lasker. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not much. Town of about 95. a stoplight. Somehow we got a golf course, but to have a song about you, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, he just came out, like I said, with the EP. It's going to be in two parts. Um, but yeah, I actually listened to that. There's a song there called "Artificial," and he's gone back to like the rock. But let me tell you guys, if you want to hear a freaking awesome cover song, listen to his version of the Journey song "Separate Ways" with
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. Oh my gosh, they killed it. I mean, that's right up there. Not as good as the Journey version, but right up there with it. And
Mm-hmm.
Chris has put out such great song. Over You was a great song. They actually did went to the kind of country Tennessee line with Vince Gill doing the
I can't
background vocal.
brought that song up because I mean, of course, I know you know it because you know all the stuff. I'm sure, but I have been thinking the whole time you've been talking about him. That song is so damn good. That Tennessee line is.
How that wasn't a hit. He
I
could have done
know.
a crossover in country music with that. And I don't remember which award show it was. I'll have to go back and look, but he did. Him and Vince Gill performed that on a award show somewhere, and they killed it. I mean,
So
but
good.
yeah, I'm a little biased on my number two because he's a hometown boy. But yeah, Daltrey is my
Mm-hmm.
number two.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so no surprise here. I mean, you thought you knew my number two, which
Yeah.
Ozzy's. I love Ozzy, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I got a good feeling about your number one. I mean, we've talked about it before. We did a show on her, I believe. I think I'm
Yeah.
right. But yeah, go ahead with your number one.
Sarah Evans, just nobody will ever top her for me. I don't even really need to say anything. You can go back and watch the other show we did.
Yeah, we talked. We actually got to see her live, which
Mhm.
is, for me that was the first time. For you, how many times was that for you? Then we
Like
talked
12,
about that.
like 12 or something like that. Yeah.
So so Sarah Evans, if you're listening, bring me and Martin on your podcast.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
God, please. Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
cool?
I have started listening to her podcast. She does a great job with her podcast. But man, you talk about, and she's got. We've talked a lot about her in that last episode we did together, but she's got that voice that that's Sarah Evans. I mean, it
It's
doesn't sound like anybody else.
nobody
And,
sounds. Yeah.
and see, that's what a lot of the people that I like. I don't want somebody that sounds like cookie cutter. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? I want somebody that's got that distinctive voice that I can pick out. I was like, yeah, that's her. That's him.
That's the problem today. Is there's, and I'm not picking at people. I mean, there's a lot of great artists today too, and I'm not saying I'm fantastic. You know, I could be cookie cutter to a bunch of people for what I'm trying to do, but there's so many cookie cutter songs and artists out there right now. It drives me crazy. There's no, you know, rich singers anymore. There's no big singers anymore. They're just so, even if they do have a great voice, you know, they're just still going to tone it down into cookie cutter because that's what's out there right now.
Yeah, they want to sound like whatever's going up, whatever's trending. That's
Mm,
the thing. That's what music is more about now. It's not about doing your own thing. It's about doing what's trending,
mm.
being social media, getting into algorithm and all this stuff. I mean, dudes, I'm like you. I get tired of hearing some of this stuff because it sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there, and like you said, there's a lot of it out there right now,
Yeah.
and hopefully, that'll change. But yeah, I'm like you there. I'm just tired. I want to hear something different. Like I said, a distinctive voice that doesn't sound like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sarah Evans, gosh, she's in my top 20. Like I said, Born to Fly. That's when it took off for me. But going back and listening to something like we bring up Vince Gill a lot. No Place That Far with Vince Gill. And
Mm-hmm.
then The Beat of a Heart with the Warren Brothers. I love that song too. Um,
And she got a newer song. It came out in like maybe 2016 or something. And it wasn't a single, but it should have been because her record label. It was her last album that she had when she was on with a record label, and they made a huge mistake not pushing that song as a single. But she did another song with Vince Gill. It's called "Better Off," and you should listen to it. It's so good.
Oh, hold on. See, I got
Better Off
to.
Gill. It's the biggest song on that album, and it wasn't even a single. But
See, at listening to her podcast, she did not. She was not happy with her record company or with country music radio.
mhm.
I mean, she's still not happy with country music radio because they won't play a lot of her stuff.
Mhm.
But you know, we're really tell me the honest to God truth, and you people out there, y'all listening too. When was the last time you actually cut your radio on?
I know, right?
I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to a radio station. It's
no,
all the time.
I lied, and Haley's in here. She'll tell you the same thing. The other night, I forgot how the radio came on, but we got to talking about, what was it called, Haley? 103.7 and Bob 93.3 and how
Oh
huge.
yeah, the
Which they
hot F
still,
103.7 used to be the hot
yeah,
FM.
yes. And Bob 93.3 is still out because we cut it on. But, I mean, whenever you got in the car, you were putting on one of those two channels.
Yes,
You know, I mean,
you
you
had
were
your,
putting,
you had your presets.
uh-huh.
But back in the day, let me see if I can remember the ones we did. 93.3, like we said. We did 103.7. Then we did the local channels, which was 98.3, and they're still 97.9, which was Run It Rapids. 99.3 was a Husky. That was country. 102.3 was, they changed to country.
101.7.
100.7, that was WRDU.
Mm-hmm.
106.9, I think that was the Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 106.1 was WRDU. That's right. I forgot what 100.7 was.
101.7 was Runner Rapids. Still is country.
Yeah, 101.5 was like easy listening stuff. That was Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. And then 93.7, of course, way before your time and almost before my time. I was on the edge of it before. K94. 93.7 was K90. No, it was 94.1. People had K94 bumper stickers everywhere. And then they had the iconic music. This was back when radio stations would sign off.
Mm-hmm.
And when they would sign on, they played, I can't remember the name of the song that they would play, but they always played, they had a guy up there talking over it, talking about from so-and-so and so-and-so. But yeah. And then, back when you actually had DJs at the radio stations,
Mm-hmm.
I would call in, 103.7, I think they had like the top 9 at 9. They took votes and all this stuff. And I would
Mm-hmm.
call in 2 or 3 times. I'd introduce the number one song on there. And
Mm-hmm.
then do dedications. Gosh, we do
Oh, yeah.
dedications all the time when we were kids.
Now
But
my dad to the radio. He likes that metal channel out of what's rock and metal out of Virginia.
oh yeah,
He loves it. You can't really get it here,
yeah,
but
you can't get it here. They
when you go
actually
up there,
a guy that has been on my show
uh-huh.
is a DJ. If it's the same one I'm thinking, he's a DJ up there, and he used to be on 103.7. They
Oh
called him
wow.
Greg Brady.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I'll tell you, and we're getting off before I do my number one, but Greg Brady, they had a team, him in the morning, they called it, Jesus, if he's listening, he will kill me because I've talked, the Morning Rush.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so popular, they came out with a CD of like they do pranks and stuff. They actually pranked my wife, told her they were calling from like American Idol or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
because they'd heard she could sing or something like that. But yeah, they were so freaking funny. Rick Sticks was one, and I can't remember the girl's name, but Greg Brady and Rick Sticks, they called Buckingham Palace one time, and
Wow.
they actually almost got in trouble for that. Because they kept Buckingham Palace called them back because they almost got a lot of trouble for that. But Anyway, yeah, back in the day when you could listen to the radio, but now, like I said, I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to my radio.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I don't even know if my radio in the house still works. I'd have
Yeah.
to check that out. I may have to check that out after we get through with this. But my number one, no big surprise here, just like Martin's was a surprise to me, is Kiss. I mean, um, I've been a Kiss fan since I was 5 years old. They started their band started the same year I was born, so they just celebrated their 50th anniversary, and they did a farewell tour. I guess uh, we hope because they're up there. Um, but man, I remember my cousin at his house. He lived next door to me. We're at his house, and he pulls out this album. The album cover is Destroyer, and it's just them like a cartoon. And I'm just like, and then when he played that first song, which was Detroit Rock City, I was hooked. I mean,
Mm.
I tell people all the time. People ask me all the time, and actually, I got in kind of a argument with a guy one time about my fandom with Kiss, how long it's been. Um, but I said they hooked me with the look, but they kept me coming back for the music.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Stanley, in his day, in his prime, was probably if you go back and listen to MTV Unplugged, they did in 1995. Molly, you just want to get on camera all night, girl. Um, he does a song called "I Still Love You," and he hits some notes up there. That was Paul Stanley in his prime, and I will put him up against anybody in the rock world as far as his voice.
Yeah.
Um, they were just so iconic, and like I said, they had their own sound. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
sounded like them. A lot of people came along and tried to sound like them, tried to look like them, but couldn't do it. But yeah, and such a big part of my childhood and my life. I've stuck with them when a lot of the people back in the day at that time when I was became a fan had they just went away from that. I never stopped listening to them, never stopped being a fan. If you go look at my office, there's so much Kiss crap in there right now. All the vinyl albums, uh, t-shirts. Like I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. But yeah, just a great band. And a lot of people don't take them serious because of the makeup. They're clown. They call them clowns. There's a lot of songs. I was actually listening to a Kiss podcast today. There's a lot of songs. There's one that come out in 1987 on the Crazy Nights album. If you go back and listen to it, it's a ballad called "Reason to Live." If Bon Jovi or somebody else does that song, it's a freaking number one hit.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't want to take Kiss serious because of they took the makeup off of the makeup and all this stuff. They're not really a great musician. Another one off that album, "Turn on the Night," that would have been a great hit in that era, but just doesn't they just don't get it because of the makeup.
And that's the thing is, people that are really Kiss fans like that, they're not just half-ass Kiss fans. They're
Oh
all
no,
way. Like I've got a few friends that the people that own the company I work for, they are huge Kiss fans. They go to all the concerts. They dress up in the makeup and all the stuff.
I love it. I
Um,
love it.
I mean, anybody I know that's a Kiss fan, they're all like that. You don't half-ass way do it with Kiss, and that's
Uh,
their whole fan base.
I'll tell you, when I was a kid, Christmas, it was probably about going to be three things. It was going to be Pittsburgh Steelers stuff, Star Wars stuff, and Kiss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I I I had we had the Kiss Halloween costumes. I wore that. I wore one of them for like 3 years. I went every year as Ace Frehley. Um, and we have like air. I had a plastic white toy guitar with Kiss on it, and I wish I still had it, but dumb me. We're playing one of the live albums, and I was like, I'm gonna be like Ace Frehley. I put a smoke bomb in the thing, lit it, plastic and heat. Yeah, yeah. It was a white, big old piece of white melted plastic. That's what I had left.
Oh my
So
god!
yeah, it would. That Yeah, it's nothing like it for me. And when you become, like you said, when you're a Kiss fan, you're either all in or you're
Mm,
going to get out. I
yeah.
mean, you're going to get out.
Hmm.
Um, Paul Stanley said one time, "If you love us, love us. If you hate us, hate us. If you're in the middle, get out."
Yeah.
you know.
It's true. You can't just. Yeah, I mean that's true.
But yeah. So no surprise there. Number
No,
one for me is Kiss. No, that was the worst kept secret on this whole on all our list right there. Even
mine.
your Sarah Evans thing, which I knew that I knew who was going to be your number one.
Anybody that knows me, which people that are watching that don't know me, of course, they probably didn't know, but anybody that knows me knows. Oh yeah, Sarah Evans is gonna be his number one. Blah blah. So it's easy to get, but that's all right. Because the rest of them, I think we were pretty diverse, and it was
Oh yeah,
some were surprising.
I don't think, honest to God, I don't think me and you had any duplicates up here.
No,
Yeah, so that's cool. I like that though. And like I said, the honorable mentions we talked about, like you said, Ozzy Osbourne is definitely on my top 20. Beach Boys, shoot, Sarah Evans, Travis Tritt,
mm-hmm,
Garth, George Strait.
mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a lot on my Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Journey was actually in there, but I took them off when I did the tie. I took them off when I did the tie.
It's so hard to do the top 10. I swear it is.
And I sat here looking at what I listened to. One of the things I did, I looked at what I listened to, and there was so many. I was like, I will. I mean, I could make another one out of just what should be my honorable mentions. I mean, they it could interchange at any time.
Yes.
Um, but anyway, so fill us in. You talked about you got new music, got a country, so I mean a Christmas song, excuse me, coming
Mhm.
out. But what else you got? What upcoming events you got coming up that people want to know about?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do a Christmas song for the past couple of years, but just never made it work in time or whatever. But we recorded it. It's fantastic, and I cannot wait to put that out. And then we've got a few shows coming up. We've got Market Street Pub in Washington on December 7th. I'm off till then. So on December 7th, Market Street Pub, we're playing at Ribeyes in Washington Acoustic again. December 21st, and then December 20th, if I'm getting my dates right, we're back at the Buccaneer and in Greenville. And that's all I have for the rest of the year, with the holidays and everything coming up. But next year, between me and Sam doing acoustic and then the band doing stuff, we're going to be hitting it pretty much every weekend again. So I'm ready for that. Releasing new music.
Yeah, the Buccaneers become one of your staple shows now,
Yeah.
and go back there a lot.
Yeah, I got two places that are kind of my staple places: the Buccaneer and then Tin Roof in Raleigh. So
Okay, yeah,
I try to book them throughout the year, which I've already done, and then I'll kind of add stuff in around it. So those are my two staple places for sure.
right. I know you've been at the Buccaneer a lot.
Yeah,
All right, guys. So you chime in. Let us know what your top 10 is. And I tell you, you think it's going to be easy, but like we said, it was hard. It's
yeah,
hard to narrow down. When you're a music fan like we are, it's hard to narrow down to your top 10. But you let us know what your top 10 is. Send it in on our Facebook page. Uh, Send it in an email if you want to at the Final Score Entertainment at gmail.com. You see our socials up here. Um, and actually, that TikTok, I'm going to have to take that. They shut down my TikTok.
Oh, what'd you do?
Because I was getting followers up there because I was putting movie clips up there
Mm-hmm.
and the copyright stuff.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
Mike Morgan. Mike Morgan, who from Runt Rapids. Yes, duh. You know, Kiss was my number one. You know me like anybody. And look, let me tell you, Mr. Speed, who is like the one of the best Kiss tribute bands in the country, came to Littleton. Matter of fact, it was last month. And the original date was going to be on a Saturday night, and I think it was in September. I bought freaking not front row, but I was right there at the front.
Mm-hmm.
They rescheduled it for October the 18th. I'm a football coach. That's a Friday night. Guess what? It was a football game I could not get out of.
Oh my
So
god.
Mr. Speed needs to come back to Littleton. If you're out there listening, you need to come back to Littleton so I can come see you. But yeah, of course, Mike. Kiss was number one on my list, but that was no doubt there. Anyway, guys, send us that. You can chime in anywhere. Follow us on Facebook. Check out Martin's social medias. Get on YouTube. Follow him on Facebook. He's there. He puts all his appearances where he's going to be at up there. You'll get links to his music up there as well. You know, when the Black Friday, which is only like a little over a week away, guys. So that'll be right there. Black Friday when the Christmas, I won't say country, when the Christmas song comes out. So you need to be ready for that. You need to go ahead and follow him now so you'll be up to date on that. Martin, thanks for coming on again, bud. We have to come up with another topic soon.
Yeah.
Here comes the rain. Let's get ready to get cold, guys. So be ready for that tomorrow. You ready for it?
Oh yeah.
You love cold weather, right?
Love the cold.
I got you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Martin. Like I said, we'll come up with some more. We got to come up with something country next time. We'll do some more country.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that won't be no problem for either one of us. 90s country music. That'll be something we can.
Yeah, 90s will be great. Let's do that.
All right. So, guys, thank y'all. Thank you to Mallory, to Heels, to Robert Matthews, Mike Morgan for chiming in. And thank you for Brian Mullen, Caitlin Hewitt, Heels Bevins, Darlene Jones for your likes. We appreciate it. And, guys, we'll see you next time on The Fly.
Thank you.